One of the alliance partners to the ANC, the SACP, is holding a press briefing to outline its position on the coalition talks that are currently underway. Let's listen in.
And therefore, we will not work with these forces. We will not support any idea to try and work with these forces. They are anti-people forces. We will work with the people's camp. In the same vein, the SACP is seeking a coalition arrangement with other parties in which the ANC can consolidate a minority government with some features of the GNU, but largely this GNU should not exclude these neoliberal forces headed by the DA. The neoliberal economic restructuring, for instance, should not include yes, the neoliberal forces headed by the DA. This is very important. Let me repeat it because I see I've mispronounced it. We support the minority government with GNU features, that is, government of national unity features, without the role and participation of DA-led forces. So we're clear about our anti-capitalist trajectory. The problems we face in this country is because we have pursued over the years and have been beholden to the interest of capital, who have always threatened us about the stability of our economy when they've actually destroyed our economy to an extent that it has become an anti-people economy under capitalism. So equally, we are saying that neoliberal economic restructuring, which includes retrenchments, and even those announced during the May 2024 elections campaign period in the mining and other sectors included, should be rejected because the DA continue to support these measures. They have continued to attack, for instance, the national minimum wage and to attack collective bargaining. And they've resisted even the implementation on the introduction of the national health insurance. Of course, all of this have severely impacted the workers and impoverished our country, and these forces remain arrogant and anti-working class, as represented by their continued reckless utterances. And therefore, the industrial scale looting under state capture further crippled many of our state-owned companies, public entities, and financial resources, negatively impacting the capacity of our state to serve the people. And the factional conduct and ethnic nationalism of those driving the MK party have negatively impacted our own ANC-led government and the ANC's electoral performance. The votes and number of seats from the May 2024 national and provincial government elections offer coalition permutation that excludes both the DA and the MK party. The SACP will actively pursue this outcome in the coalition engagement processes, both within the ANC-headed alliance and through public campaigning and mobilization of the working class, which is our core base. This is crucial to defend and advance the interests of the working class against its strategic adversaries, including these neoliberal and looting class networks, as well as the fugitives from justice who benefited from state capture. In pursuing the ideal outcome in the interest of the working class, the SACP will insist on governance stability as opposed to the instability associated with local government coalitions. We'll also insist on accountability and the interest of the people, especially the working class majority. This interest includes large-scale employment creation through industrialization, as in our manifesto, a developmental and transformative macroeconomic policy, a caring social policy, as we have demonstrated through our social security net programs, and deepening those, including an advance in universal basic income grant and its immediate implementation, and the immediate implementation of the national health insurance to guarantee quality health care for all our people. We also want to comment on the experiences faced by the IEC. We want to first commend the IEC for its role in delivering successful elections once more. But the IEC experienced deeply concerning issues, including major technological breakdowns, which contributed to delays in the voting process and system downtime disruptions, particularly during the counting process. An investigation into why these issues occurred is essential. This investigation must include examining where the IEC sourced the technology it used, for instance, and if it was used from another country, for instance. We need to assess that country's attitude and its current relations with ours at present. And therefore, we will also call for state to, in the future, rely on its own technology. We have got capacity in this country to drive our own technological development. The investigation in this regard is crucial to prevent future disruptions and secure the credibility of our elections and safeguard our national democratic sovereignty. Thank you very much. We will end here as a draft statement, as we indicated that a fully fledged statement will be issued later on in the day. I hand it over back to you, Dr. Alex Mashula. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, GS. I will now take this opportunity to invite clarity-seeking questions from members of the media present here tonight. You will be the first one, you will be the second one, and I'm looking for a gender balance. You will be the third one, you will be the first one. You will be the first one, you will be the second one, you will be the third one. I'm sure you appreciate the rules. Great. Is there any further hand? Let's take the three for now, simply because we have not interacted for a while, if I may say so. The last time we had a press conference was in December. In December. And then GS and National Chair, if I may say this, there has been a series of resignations in the media from one house to another. So sometimes when you know that Alex is working for that media house, because of that there were changes. So I will ask you to just introduce your name and the media house you come from, and then put your questions. Thank you. Siswa Jalapi.
Good afternoon, it's Ndando Tugwana at Bloomberg News. I just wanted to find out what the implications will be from an SACP standpoint if a coalition is formed with parties that you don't want to be part of the formation of governments, and how you will communicate that with the ANC if that does happen.
Thank you.
Fully Treaty Jones from ENCA. When will you be writing to the ANC regarding this potential move of having to include the DA, the National Government of Unity? Because they had a press briefing today and it seems as though they have been talking with several parties, and some of the DA are saying that talks are at an advanced stage as well. So when will you be communicating this with the ANC? And just a reaction on today's court case, former Minister of Sports, Arts and Culture, Zizi Kodwa, being formally charged for being implicated in corruption charges related to State Capture Commission information that was presented there. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
From UFM. Mr. Mataida, you are mentioning possibly mobilizing the working class. I just wanted to understand that properly, that if you don't get your way with this demand, did I understand you correctly to say we're going to mobilize in which fashion? Against protest against the new government, protest against the ANC? And tied to that, my second question, why does the party need to convey this desire through a press conference? Is there no internal platform within the alliance where you can say to the ANC, this is our view.
Thank you, Khavelo. GS and the National Office Bearers, there are the questions.
No, you go ahead, JS. We'll come in if necessary. Otherwise, you normally represent us quite adequately.
No. Firstly, let's say that, starting with the last question, you remember the elections results were announced Sunday evening. On Monday, we were able to meet as the SACP officials, and we also had a meeting of the Alliance Secretariat. So there's been consultation of the Alliance. We are in a constant consultation with our allies. So there's no problem with that. What we are saying is, and that's why we are expressing it here, because we want to dispel this notion of secret deals so that we are not attached to it. With many permutations being created, particularly by a dominant trajectory from the newsroom that is against the liberation forces. This dominant trajectory, by the way, has not changed even during the election. It continues to redirect the ANC to a particular idea. But it's very important to appreciate that we accept this thing, this setback that we have suffered as a liberation forces, and that we have been humbled by our people. But equally, our people did not endorse these right-wing parties. They were overwhelmingly rejected. And that's why it will be a tragic mistake when the people have rejected these neoliberal forces to go and cavort with them and create a coalition with them. They have no role except to take responsibility for the dire needs that our people are faced with today from an economic perspective. So in that case, we will, of course, we are an independent organization within the framework of the alliance. We will continue our mobilization of the people, even to reverse these realities on the ground going forward. Of course, we will, the ANC is having a special NEC tomorrow. We hope that meeting is still going on. We will share with the Secretary General our ideas in this regard. We do understand that everybody now needs the ANC, including the DA itself. But the DA needs the ANC to maintain status quo of capitalist domination of our economy, an unaccountable economy. We think we've passed that period now, and the masses have punished us for too long, beholden to the interest of capital in this country, which has not delivered to the masses of our country. In fact, many achievements in this case are from the public sector economy, from the government, whether it's social security net that we have extended to our people through housing and many other forms of grants that the DA and its forces have condemned over the years when they have not done any other thing that is alternative. So it's important that our rejection of this, our class adversary, is as clear as daylight. With regard to the point that you just raised, we heard it, my phone was off. I just hear that there might be a possibility for Comrade Zizi Kodwa to appear in court this morning, which are now confirming that it did happen. We'll have to look into what was it that he was charged about. But it's also important to say that whilst we were officially, of course the media do not want to give us this credit, by the way. We were officially the first people to call for state capture commission, if you like, or inquiry into allegations of corruption at a state level. When we were raising issues against a government led by President Zuma, which was cavorting with reactionary forces who were looting the public resources. And we said it clearly that they were the elephant in the room, that we needed to deal with the Gupta issue, and others of their associates. We were confronted that we have no evidence. That's why we said, if you want evidence, create a commission. You will get all the evidence. Of course, the public protector, then Advocate Chiluma Donzela, after receiving a query, went on an investigation, came to the same conclusion as ours, and the many legal wrangles that then former President Zuma tried to avoid setting up this commission. We, of course, we have expect nothing perhaps from the media to praise the Communist Party. It's not possible. But tell the truth. So, to the extent that this may arise as a consequence of that, it's very important that any other possible action for anyone to account, it's important. It's also critical to raise the fact that we do know that there are forces of reaction, forces of the opposition, that have made their own responsibility to destabilize the liberation movement, to condemn every other action of various of our leaders through the court process. But the courts will have to absolve them. So if a matter of this nature is taken, Comrade Zizi must go and appear before court, absolve himself, prove himself innocent. And I don't think we should judge him guilty before he has completed the court process. In fact, if anything, we should commend the ANC for accepting the rule of law, that all its senior leaders, members of the NEC and so forth, can be subjected to the same process as ordinary South Africans. But what is important is also to guard against this nefarious agenda to destabilize the African National Congress, even by spurious charges that are thrown in all the time, just so that it destabilizes the ANC, even if ultimately this trial, some of them we have seen, they are never ending. They run forever. And we must avoid that possibility. I hope I have responded to all the questions. If I've left anything, I think other officials can deal with that.
No, Pala, you haven't left anything. Perhaps it's just to underline in relation to the question that, because I'm not saying that's what you are saying, but it could be read as if we've convened this press briefing because we want to influence the ANC. That's not the intention at all. As the General Secretary has said, we are engaging with the ANC. But it is very important as an independent political organization that we ourselves pronounce on the issue of the elections and also state our own views about whatever possible coalitions. To us also it's a contribution to being transparent. We don't want to be second-guessed as the SACP as to what our views are on these particular matters. It's not aimed at influencing anyone other than to state our own position, and as the GS has said, what is paramount in our own mind are things that are in the interest of the working class and the poor in our country. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Are there any further questions? To our colleague who just arrived after we started,
Newsroom.
Just one follow-up.
All right, of course, that concludes the ANC alliance partner, the South African Communist Party's press briefing, just speaking there about its position on coalition talks that are currently underway, saying, of course, that the ANC, that they've also commended, of course, the IEC in delivering a successful election, saying and reiterating that the ANC should not be in a coalition with the likes of the DA, saying they reject the DA, our class adversary. But we'll continue to unpack what, was said in that press briefing in as far as coalition talks are concerned. As you would know, the ANC is also in conversation with various parties around these discussions. They held a press briefing earlier on.